Okay, I'm going to show you something I picked up at antique store. These are voice writers and Ediphones. This is a voice writer electric, and this is a voice Ediphone manual player. This is the player. It has a playback head here, and it uses the horn, like one of those horns right there, to play back the tapes. And I did a video on this some time ago after rebuilding this. Has a speed control for the so you can slow it way down and listen to the cylinder. And this unit here we discovered was bad. The record head, electric record head, is beyond repair, and I haven't been able to find one. And so I just set it aside, got it running, but set it aside. It has an electronic amplifier built in the base here, and it cuts a wax cylinder dictaphone. So, and this is just the player model, and there's no amplifier in here. It just simply plays back through this little device right here, out this and into a horn that you see up there. But that's not what I wanted to show you. What I picked up today was a manual recorder at an antique store that actually came with the recording head, cutter, and the microphone. So this microphone plugs in up here, and then you speak. It's got a little electric switch in it that turns the motor on and off. Yeah, I say microphone, but really it is just an air tube that you speak into. There's no microphone element. You talk into it, and the sound pressure levels of your voice vibrate a diaphragm down there at the cutting head, and that's the way it works. And there's a little light bulb on the microphone as well that tells you that you're in recording mode. So I have spent a little bit of time on this one and have been cleaning it up. It does have a bad belt, so I've got another belt here that we're going to glue together and mount on the unit. But I've oiled it and got it working. That is, I haven't tested the motor yet, but it's got an electric motor in it. We'll take a look at that. It has the unit advances, and I want to show you guys this in case you start experimenting with one of these. This is a record and playback head. It's designed, this lever right here indicates either playback in the up position, and the needle will go into playback mode. And I want you to look up underneath here to be able to see the cutting needle and the playback needle that rides on the cylinder, and you can see it going up and down there as I move the lever up and down. There we go. You can see the needle. Right there it is. That's the needle. Right there. That's the needle. And that's what actually cuts the cylinder. Cuts the cylinder as we're recording. So then we put it back in the on position, and we can move this anywhere we want. So what's not immediately obvious is that in the down position, the unit cuts the cylinder, and it is in record mode in the down position. And then the middle position is off, and it allows you to take your cylinder, put your cylinder on and off the unit, and allows you to align the head to where you're going to play or record. So in the down position, it's cutting, and then in the up position, the head shifts slightly and will go into a playback mode rather than cutting mode, and that's the way it works. Now the playback mode is very faint, but it does allow the user to listen to the audio to make sure that where they are in their recording session. These are editing functions. This is a correction, so if you made a mistake and you want to identify it on the little piece of paper for the secretary, you can punch it with this little piece of paper here. We've looked at this already on one of the other units, but you push this down, and it makes a correction mark here. And then this one is the beginning and ending of your letter that you're dictating. You have a length button, so you start here and when you get done you push it and it'll tell you that you've recorded this cylinder using this piece of paper. So this piece of paper goes with the cylinder, and they usually slide it down the middle of the cylinder, and then they deliver it to the secretary or the transcriber, and they use that sheet of paper to know where the letter has started. Sometimes they will cross out with a piece of paper what they've already done, and they don't want to erase or erase the etching. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, about erasing these cylinders. There's a clever way to do that, and I've got the shaving machine in the museum. I'll come over here and let you take a quick look at it. The Edison shaver. Let's see, I don't have my light switch handy, but there's the Edison shaver. And this actually, oh, it's got a lock. I've got to get the key. But this I've restored, and it's a beautiful little device, and it'll actually shave the cylinders. And let's see, do I have those cylinders here? No, they're back under here. Yeah, here's some cylinders. Got some extras. These are wax cylinder musics. These are music cylinders here that have all been categorized and put in the spreadsheet. And then here are some empty containers. Oh yeah, these are empties. I don't know what I did with the cylinders. I've got them here somewhere. They're probably in one of these boxes. Okay, here's one of the dictaphone cylinders, and we've got this in the open setting, or the off, so we'll slide it in there and we'll go in and latch it. So now when the motor turns, when it's got a belt, see, this is a bad cylinder, it will play on this. We'll select the position based on visual sighting of the thing, and then when we're done, just pop it out like that and replace it. One or two of these has some audio on it. You can barely see it, but the fine cut of the cutter, we're hoping this one will cut. Yeah, there's some on there you can see. Probably can't see. Yeah, you can see it. Audio on that one too, and that one's in pretty good shape. There's bad spots on it, but we'll get it playing, and we'll listen to it on the one over there. You probably can hear it on here playing back after you record it. I want you to also notice the electrical connection here that is in between the pins on this little thing right here. Let me get over here and let you see the pins. There they are. The electrical pins inside there that match up with these connections for play or run and record, excuse me. So that's what that does. It's just an on-off kind of an affair. So we have 4 wires, 2 wires for a light that tells you that you're recording, and 2 wires that control the motor. We'll clean the rest of the unit up inside. Okay, so let's take the back off, and this hood, and I'll let you see inside the Edison. It just pulls off, and then we'll close the bail. This is working now. This was completely frozen. I could not get it loose. This screw was just about to fall out, and it had this whole bail in binding up. So it's working fine now. It does multiple things. It covers up this hole like that, and it releases the when this is pushed down, the motor stops. There's an electrical switch in here, and when this is resting on the unit, and I've got a little table, I'm going to show you the table that I bought with it. When this is resting like this, it shuts the motor off and stops it from spinning. So That's what that bail is right there. So this closes, and to reveal the Ediphone. So there's the. I'm gonna get the camera up where you can actually see it, and we're going. This is the back side of it. We still have it in off mode. So when we get to the end of the disc, there's a little bitty bell that beeps. Hear it? And tells you that you're at the end of your cylinder. This screw engages when we push the bail down. It engages the head with this screw. There's a little pinch right in here. And this screw is what drives the cutter across the cylinder. So that's the spacing right there. I don't remember right offhand if it is a 4-minute or a 2-minute length. It might be even longer than that. I've forgotten. I used to have all that stuff in the back of my head, how many minutes that you could get a recording on it. So this is working really well now, and the electrical switch wires that we saw, those pins, comes down here and goes into the motor. Let's see. So the belt, we'll have to open it up and take a look at the belt, where the belt goes. Trying to think if there's anything else here that might be of interest to you. All right, let's pull there's a screw in the bottom right here that's loose. I loosened that. So we should be able to open the whole thing, open that bail, lift the whole thing open. They're very stubborn. Oh, one other piece of information. There's a little clip right here. It's a little clip right here above Thomas Alva Edison's name that you push up and pull this cover out. This is access to the drive mechanism. And it, after fiddling with it, you can get it out. There it goes. And it comes out and exposes the drive belt right there. And the motor is down inside. We'll see in a minute, but this is the drive for the spindle. And I've scrubbed this out a little bit. It looks pretty good. It was pretty dirty, very, very gummed up. So I've cleaned that up just a little bit. All of these oiling places here, making it run nice and smooth now. So let's see if we can get this thing open. There's a hinge. You can see the hinge back here. This whole thing flops open. So let's see if we can get it open. Might have to pry on it just a little bit. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. And this thing weighs about 30 pounds. It is so heavy. I'm not kidding. It is so heavy. Okay, so there's the motor. There's an AC and a DC setting. DC setting, AC setting. See, DC, yeah, Thomas Edison was convinced that DC electrical systems for homes and everything and offices, DC was going to be better. And so he designed a lot of his stuff that had a DC mode, and they would use batteries and DC inverters, AC inverters, to convert into DC. He felt like that was a better solution, and it would be a long-term solution for the electrical systems. And then, of course, we found out that it wasn't desirable, and it just didn't happen. So he did include an AC-DC switch, and if you can see down inside here, this cover has a place where you can flip that switch right here. That's what this does. So it's in the, let's see if it's in the AC mode right now. AC and DC. So we're in the AC mode right now. There's the electrical connection that we're going to plug into. I didn't show that to you. This motor sets on springs. When it's flipped over, it rests down on these springs and runs very quietly. Shouldn't have any hardly any noise whatsoever. Um, these little relays here are what controls the motor when it's engaged. The electromagnet make it run. This is the governor assembly that controls the speed of the motor. You can see that here, and the tension on the motor to drag it. There's a leather pad underneath here. Let me zoom in. Yeah, this little pin right here has a leather pad on it. You see that. And it controls the speed of the motor. You can adjust it here from the factory. You set the speed of the motor basically, and all it does is it puts the weight, the friction of this leather pad onto this little cylinder. Let me move over here so you can see the cylinder. And there we go. Find something to point with. Okay, so there's the cylinder right there. That surface is what this little pad rides on, and it pushes against that, and it's controlled by these weights. So you can see that, how it pulls in and out. When I pull on the weights spin out, and it pushes up against this until it gets to the right speed based on this pressure adjustment. And that's the way you calibrate the speed of the recording so that you're not sounding like a Mickey Mouse or a drunk when you record. And we will experiment with that speed just a little bit and let you see how that spins once we get the power hooked up. Let's see, this is the on-off switch. Look at this archaic on-off switch here. Sorry for the camera work. There's the on-off switch. Remember I talked about that bail that will operate and turn the motor off when it is engaged. So once we have this open and in the record mode, there we go. That turns that switch off, and you can see the switch right here. On off, on off. And so there it is. So if those terminals are corroded, the motor won't run. So that's another place for you to check to see if you've got a good connection. Let's see, I'm going to move this over. We'll open this camera back up here, and we're going to put this belt on now. There we go. So this is the driven motor. There's a pulley. Here's the motor right here, and here's a tensioner right here. A little wooden tensioner. That's what that is a wood or a phenolic. It looks like wood to me. It might be phenolic on a little phenolic bearing, not even a metal bearing, with a little spring on there to hold tension on the leather belt. The leather belt does have Thomas Edison written on it, I believe. Let's see if I can get it focused and zoomed. Thomas A. Edison, and I don't know what those numbers, that's the belt number, I'm sure. But this is the original belt. And it is a piece of leather, and you can buy this leather in a craft store. So we're either gonna re-glue this one. I don't know what we're going to do for sure. Either we'll re-glue this one, or I'll use this extra belt that I have here. This is not, actually this is an original, but I don't know if it has Thomas Edison's name on it. Let's see. No, so this would not be an original belt. Don't remember where I got this belt, but we're going to, this is a tapered, see it's cut tapered and cut tapered here. So what we'll do is we'll glue this back just like that. But we can't do that until we get it on the unit. So we'll feed this through. try to feed it through here and stay on the camera. There it goes. Okay, bring it back through this side. There it is. Okay, so now we've got the driven spindle working. See, whoops, get it back up on the pulley. There we go. All right. Now, what we're going to do is all we have to do is make sure we're inside there. There we go. Grab a hold of it. And then this will come up like that. This will come over like that. And that's the way it'll work. But before we put it on that pulley, we're just going to glue it and then clamp it. So we'll glue it like this and clamp it with a pair of hemostats, and we'll let it dry, and then we should be able to just lift that up like that and let it catch just like that. And this tensioner, we'll put some tension on it if we can keep it on the pulley up here. There we go. There we go. All right, so let's glue it. I'm going to try gluing this with CA. I don't know that CA is going to work, because if this is too thick and too absorbent, we may not be able to get enough glue on there for it to catch. We're going to try. Okay, there it is. We'll clamp it just like that. Okay. Clamp it, and I'm going to clamp the back side. As long as we keep it straight. Okay, so we'll just let that sit for a while. Maybe put one more drop or two in there. There we go. We can keep it from gripping the hemostats. That should be enough to grip it. There's not a lot of pressure on that belt, so get this. We'll have to put this back up on the pulley. There it goes. Okay. So we'll let that set for a minute and dry. And then hopefully we can get the hemostats off of there. Hope they're not glued to the belt. Okay, while we're letting that dry over on the bench, I wanted to show you the stand that it came with. This was an option. Obviously, these were designed to sit on the desk if you wanted them to, or you could buy the stand that came with a slot, some slots for additional cylinders, and the manuals for everything. And then here's the cord, and it is filthy, but here's the cord, and it's in beautiful condition, so we'll plug that in just a minute. But here are some cylinders, and this is not mold, this is an acidic reaction to the wax. If we need to use these, is we will shave them with the Edison shaver in the other room. I was joking with my wife. I said, sweetheart, these have some audio on them. And it was in the trunk at the time. And she said, how do you know? And I said, listen. And then she just kind of looked at me. I love picking on her. But you can see this does have transcriptions on it. Look at the lines on there. So the mold has just about destroyed these. And that's not an uncommon thing for wax cylinders. The wax cylinders that I have in the listening museum in there, I have some that are in poor condition. They're not nearly this bad. This one is just destroyed. You can see that it's just cracked completely and will never be able to be used. But these boxes, the voice writer boxes, there they are. And it comes right in the container. So I'm really excited to see what this one will do. And we'll put this on the player over there and we'll listen to it, and hopefully we can get some audio off of it. And it will be late 1800s, early 1900s. This one is cracked pretty badly, but I don't see a crack all the way through it. So we might be able to get some sound off the middle of it, although that looks pretty fresh, pretty clean, doesn't it? Yeah, there's audio. There's some audio right there in the middle of the screen. See it? You can see that it's been recorded on. So it's going to be really, really raspy. We're going to take the hemostats off. Right, that one came out okay. Hopefully this one did. All right. And it's got a pretty good knot there. I don't know how that's going to track, whether it's going to hold up under the pressure, but we'll twist it on there. There we go. So let's push it down. I'm going to set it back down. There we go. All right, yeah, see, this is a big knot. I don't like that one bit. But let's just see if it'll actually run. Let's put the power, see if the motor is any good. In off position. We're in AC. Oh, I want to show you the electrical connection back here. Right there we go. Plug it in. The motor should start if this switch doesn't have to be in place, but we'll experiment with that. Okay. All right, so with this, excuse me, the other way around. There the motor's running, and listen how quiet it is. Can't even hear it, can you? And with it, when we push the bail down, it stops. All right, let's try something here. Let's plug that in. It released that solenoid that we were looking at, released the turn. So the motor continues to run. Now let's push this button. So that's what that relay is. Watch this. Okay, good to know. So this continues to run, but it releases the solenoid. So when we want to record, we push this button and we're recording. We're talking into that. And then it's vibrating on the wax and scratching and cutting the wax. And then when we stop, it stops exactly where we've stopped. So I guess the only thing we have left is to see if we can find a wax cylinder that has some empty space. Okay. So we've got to pull this in the off position. Notice this little finger right here. Let me let you see it. This finger prevents us from pushing something in place because the head is not out of the way. So what we do is we put it in the off position there, and that pulls that finger out of the way. See? All right. And we slide the cylinder in place. Slide it in place and lock it. There, this popped out. When we push this in, pops the cylinder out. All right, so we're locked in. And let's find an empty spot in the middle there. And we're going to try recording this. I don't know. if this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a try. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
All right, so it did record. Did you hear that? So it did record, and that is playback. So this is playback, and this is record. So let's go down here again, and look, here's the cut that we did. So this is playback, that's record. So after supper, Denise just called supper, we will do another recording. Okay, we're going to record right here, so we'll push down. And the cutter is in place. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Check, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3 on the Ediphone. The year is 2024, and the date is, I don't know, May 30th or May 28th, 2024. This is the Vintage Tech recording on an Ediphone. Let's check to see if the recording actually is working correctly. All right, back up. Back up a hair. Oops, too much.
Vintage Tech recording on an Ediphone. Let's check to see if the recording actually is working correctly.
Okay, so it is recording. And let's back it up. Yeah, so this definitely is playback. All right, now that's very faint, of course, on the recorder. So we're going to take this off, and we're going to take, you can see where I recorded, just that little strip of swarf right there. And we're going to, you can see the recording, just a tiny little line right there. And we're going to take this and put it on the player and see if we can get the player to play that back any louder. All right? Okay, we've got the player running. And there's the speed control. There's the playback head. And it's running. We put it on there. Stop it. Slide it in there. And we'll come over here somewhere. I guess that's probably close enough. And let's see if we can get any audio out of this. All right, so it did record, not very loud. Okay, so it did record, not real loud, as I said. Well, let's try another recording. talk a little louder this time. And plug it in. Okay. And put it on record. Testing. Okay, we're right on top of the previous recording. Let's get over here. Testing 1 2 3, checking 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3 in the Ediphone. Recording right now on the black wax cylinder. The date is May 28, 2024. My name is Kent, and I am the Vintage Tech, and we are recording on the audio or the Ediphone Edison voice writer, which is the dictaphone device made in the early 1900s. Testing 1 2 3. All right. Let's back up, see if we've got a recording.
Testing 1 2 3. Checking 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. In the Ediphone. Recording right now on the black wax cylinder.
Okay, so it does record, and so let's try it in the player. You can see the swarf on the CD, on the cylinder. See the swarf, and I have a brush. I'll brush that swarf off. Okay, come over here.
And we are recording on the Ediphone Edison voice writer, which is the dictaphone device made in the early 1900s. Testing 1 2 3.
Okay, so it did record. It's not very loud, which is why they went to that electronic cutter.
Testing 1 2 3. Checking 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. In the Ediphone. Recording right now on the black wax cylinder. The date is May 28, 2024. My name is Kent.
Okay, so it did record, and such as it is, not very impressive, is it? So let's try another recording here. I think there's some information on these. These are in pretty rough shape, but let's see if these actually sound any better on the recording. All right, we'll get it to track correctly. But that's got a bad place in the disc, the cylinder. All right, so that's recording, non-amplified recording, and there was something on that cylinder as well, but you can see the condition of the cylinder. Look at it. It's just been eaten away badly. Cover it back up. That thing is at least 30 pounds. Maybe more. That's all I can do to lift it. Get this out of the way. There's a thumb screw right in here. Attaches it to the base. There we go. Okay. this. It's just like that. You close this up so that it keeps the dust out of it. But that's the Ediphone dictaphone. Not really officially dictaphone. It's called an Ediphone, and barely can read this Ediphone right here. But that's the unit. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. It followed her to school one day. That was against the rules. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school.
Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. It followed her to school one day. That was against the rules. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school. This is the bus of the 1900s.
As promised, I want to show you the shaving machine. I've taken one of these highly acidic molded cylinders and I'm going to shave it clear and clean, and we'll try a recording on that. Okay, I don't know why the first part started so slow and then the second part grabbed. Might be that this was not gripping the spindle very good, but clearly it did a beautiful job. Look at that. Beautiful job. There's a little bit of speckling, and I could go back over it one more time. In fact, I think I will, because this is not dust. This is actual speckling of the material. So let's go back over. Yeah, I need to grease that. That's probably the problem. So let's grease that and try it again. Still have a little bit of speckling going on there, so let's take it in just a little more. There we go. There we go. Now it's taking some off. You see it sucking down into the bag. See if we get it all off. Well, we're almost all gone. We still have a little bit of speckling. I don't think it would be enough to influence the recording. So I think we're going to stop there, and we'll put that on the recorder and see how it does. So we'll pop this off, open this up like this, and push the recording off back here with a thumb. Pull the cylinder off. There we go. And let's take it to the recorder. Okay, we've got the recently shaved. Oh, I scratched it. I didn't have the thing turned off, so I got a bag scratch right there. Wasn't paying attention, and I put a scratch on it, so we'd have to fix that, but we're not going to worry about it. We're going to start at the beginning and we'll mark it, and then we'll start recording. And I've got the recorder here. Notice the record light when I push the button. So we'll go down, record. Check 1, 2, 3, check 1, 2, 3. This is a test 1, 2, 3 on the new recordable cylinder. And we're recording to see if we're actually getting some cutting going on the new cylinder that we just shaved with the Edison shaver. So let's do a real quick back up here and check and see if we've got our actual recording. All right, I do see a little bit of swarf. You see here, here's a little bit of swarf, and there is some recording going on. So let's put it in play.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. This is test 1, 2, 3 on the new recording, recordable cylinder. We did recording to see if we're actually making some cutting going on the new cylinder that we just shaved with the Edison shaver. So let's do a real quick back up here and check to see if we've got actual.
All right, and our light is blinking again. I don't know what was, I guess, a dirty connection on the electrical connections up here. Remember I mentioned there were 4 wires, 2 wires for the light and 2 wires for the switch. And so, all right, let's pop this off and put this in off position, pop this out. Let's put it on the player and we'll try it on the player. Let me switch the camera. Okay, it's still pretty weak, but at least we know that you've gotten to see the process of shaving and cleaning up a completely destroyed cylinder like that white one that we had. And anyway, the recording head on this unit right here is probably worn, and it could be missing or it could be not nearly as sharp enough to actually do a decent recording. But it's okay. It's all right. We're not going to use it for anything serious. And then I pushed the length button on there, and I wanted you to see what it does to the little paper. See, it cuts a hole right there. You can see the hole that it punched a hole in the beginning of the recording, and then you would punch it again at the end of the recording and right where we stopped. And now you've got the beginning and the end of the length, they call it, of the recording. So there we have it, the full process. 100 years old.